කරන්න බැරි.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. On behalf of the Bandaranaike Center for International Studies, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the virtual inauguration ceremony of the International Relations Program for the academic year 2026A. We are delighted to have with us today our distinguished guests, members of the BCI's administration and faculty, and most importantly, our new students who are beginning their journey in the study of international relations. Although today's event is being held online, we are pleased to see very strong participation. Before we begin the formal proceedings, may I kindly request everyone to switch on their videos, but keep your microphones muted throughout the session to ensure the smooth conduct of the program. To officially welcome you all today, it is my pleasure to invite Ms. Priyanthi Fernando, Executive Director of the BCIS, to deliver the welcome address. Ms. Fernando, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tarishi. I'm not sure you can see me because I think my camera doesn't quite work, but I hope you can hear me. Yes?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to say, give a very warm welcome to everyone attending this online inauguration for the 226A batch of the International Relations courses, students. As Tarishi said, I'm Priyanthi Fernando. I'm the Executive Director of the BCIS. And on behalf of all of us, we are really pleased to have you all with us, especially the students who will be with us in the next few months, following the certificate, diploma, higher diploma, and postgraduate diploma courses. We are sorry we couldn't welcome you to the BCIS physically, but very happy that so many of you are here and look forward to seeing you around the premises as soon as things ease. I guess it's a very interesting time to be joining an IR course because the world is experiencing multiple crises and it is hard to make sense of all what is going on. Obviously, the war with Iran is center stage right now and affecting all of us. But before that, we had Venezuela, the aggression against the Palestinian people, the Ukraine-Russian conflict. I just read an article in the Himal magazine which reported that about 275 Sri Lankans have died fighting in the Ukraine-Russian war, that is, fighting someone else's war. But we must also not forget what is happening to our planet with climate change, how digitization is affecting the way international politics happen, and think about what is happening to citizens in the global south because of increasing indebtedness, violations of human rights, and generally the marginalization of those without voice. It shouldn't be all, but it's not all doom and gloom, I guess. We need to make use of the technology that we have to cooperate across borders, to build movements around shared experiences. So let's hope that you will come to the BCIS with an open mind and an interest in using your learning in multiple ways. As a BCIS student, you will not only just follow the courses, but you also have the opportunity to make use of the fact that we are constantly having talks and panel discussions around interesting topics with very interesting people from Sri Lanka and overseas, and that you will also have the opportunity to use our library, not just to read your assigned texts, but also to browse some of the books. We are probably the best IR library, international relations library in Sri Lanka. And we have collections from renowned Sri Lankans such as S.W.R.D. Bandaranaike or Lakshman Kadirigama or Mangala Samaravira, to name a few. These are books that they had in their libraries and they have donated to the BCIS. So to read the books that they have read will be your privilege. Just on the side, you may also know that BCIS also conducts language courses. We teach 13 languages. So if you want to complement your international relations learning with getting proficient in a foreign language, you can do that too. So let me end by saying thank you for joining what will be, when you finish your course, a distinguished group of alumni, a host of other students who over the last 50 years have attended our courses and who now hold responsible positions in government, private sector, professional, and civil society organizations. You will hear from two of them today. Then there are also the members of the public who come to the BCIS to meet and discuss world affairs, with whom you can also debate your ideas. So basically, it is an exciting place to be. So very happy you are here and wish you all the very best as you go through this journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fernando. We will now proceed to a brief overview of the BCIS bylaws, which will introduce students to the academic framework and regulations of the center. For this, I would like to invite Dr. Bhagya Senaratne, Director of Education, to address the gathering.
Thank you, Tarishri. Welcome to the BCIS, to all the students that have joined in virtually. I echo the Executive Director's remarks in that we are sad that we couldn't have you here in person. We would have loved to have interacted with you in person, but circumstances are such that we can't do that. But we are really, really happy that you've joined our courses and you want to go on an exciting journey with us at the BCIS. So welcome to the BCIS and a new cohort of students, a majority of you who will be with us for over about a year. So I'm just going to give you an overview, some echoing some comments that the ED has already mentioned, but I want to take you all through certain things that from an academic perspective are very important for us. So for the BCIS, like the pre-GD students, this is the curriculum you'll be looking at. So as you can see, it's not the traditional kind of courses you would generally have at a university, but we've tried very best to bring new and exciting and different modules for you to study. All our courses are accredited. They've been approved by the academic boards, so there is responsible teaching. And I think what we want our students to understand is that you should engage with your modules, engage with your lecturers, so that you can make the most out of these, right? So things like visual and multisensory IR, these are not generally taught anywhere else in Sri Lanka. So I think these are modules you should make the most, because you have exciting people and coming and teaching. So this is for the higher diploma in international relations. And similarly, the diploma in IR has also gone through a lot of changes recently. And these are some of the new kind of exciting modules that you'll be working with. I'm also very happy to tell you that the BCIS is a degree awarding institute. This we have been able to do last year. So some of you might have questions about whether this is, the BCIS has been approved by the UGC. What's the status? Because we've had these questions when some of you all registered. So I want to place it on record that we do have this capacity. So, we work with the UGC, courses go through the UGC so that we know that we offer you quality programs for you to study and ensure that they are with the Sri Lanka Quality Qualifications Framework, SLQF, and that you get something important in your learning. So this is more of the traditional teaching that we do, the courses that you all have signed up for, but BCIS is obviously more than that. We do a multiplicity of things, be it from public events to short courses that you can be part of. And short courses are also one way in which you can learn more about something, but in a shorter span of time. So these are something like a crash course over a period of, say, a few weeks, 5 to 7 weeks, that you can go through. So these are some of the courses we've done in the last few months. And you can, of course, watch our socials. When you come in person to the BCIS, you can also go have a look at all our notice boards, because we update all our notice boards with the latest information about the events that we hold. But these are really good spaces, courses that you can follow, because they've learned something new, but in a very short span of time. So these are some courses, like I mentioned, that we've just finished over the last few months. And of course, Empowering Learners for the Future, Student-Centered Learning was a course that we recently concluded early on in the month. But we also have other interesting courses that some of you all might be interested in following, for example, on peace and conflict studies, non-violence. I think these are topics that are very relevant to the conversations, especially like Ms. Priyanthi Fernando mentioned, the conversations, the war in Ukraine, what's happening in Iran. So I think having some extra knowledge following these courses would also be very important for you all as students to understand what is happening in the world around us. Whilst your courses would also help you, these extra material will also be, I think, important for you in your courses of study, or just to understand what is happening in the world and around us. As mentioned, we have the Language and Cultural Studies division. Some of you might be interested in following language courses to complement your learning. We have 13 different languages. And I think what I want to point is last year we introduced 3 different new languages. So that's Thai language courses, Russian, and Persian. I've also placed the Chinese language flyer for you to understand that this is something new that we've started, not Chinese language teaching, Mandarin teaching, but the streamlining of these language courses so that you can do a professional exam, a government approved exam. So for example, by following this Chinese language course, HSK3, you are eligible to sit for the Chinese government approved exam, HSK3 level. So even in a certification, like some of you might be doing IELTS or TOEFL or PTE, you can then say that you are HSK3 level certified in Mandarin language. So this is the same with French and all the other language, Spanish that we are teaching, because we want you to be able to also proceed for your certifications, because this would also help you upgrade and update not just your CVs, but be relevant in today's world. So I was saying BCIS is more than what we offer in terms of our courses. We also have interesting and also fun things like movies that we show. So politics and popcorn, we recently had this last week. So this is where we have every couple of months, we will be showing a movie and having a discussion following the movie, which I think is important for students like you all. Because IR is not just about learning in the classroom. It's also a lot more like in your visual IR course, you'll understand interpreting cartoons, interpreting films. So even in films like this, the soundtrack to a coup d'etat, you would see how international politics, international relations play out, how countries are managing relations, how governments are changing, the politics behind events. So I think films are also very important, and this will be a fun activity that you could be part of, maybe after a class. If you're here, you can always be part of these kind of activities at the BCIS. I also want to, remind you all some important things, flag some important things that you should be mindful of when you're at the BCIS. You all have registered for a course of study. So your attendance in these courses are mandatory. They are important for you, especially because as students, you will follow the course, you're trying to absorb knowledge. So coming and attending for all the courses, your participation is, I think, very important because it's through a series of interconnected lectures that you gain your knowledge. It also means that you get to interact with your students, your lecturers, which you won't do or won't be able to do if you don't come in person, right? So I think attendance in this way is also important, but you also see for exams, if you don't have enough attendance, you won't be able to sit for your exams. So I think there is a little bit of attention that I want to draw regarding attendance, because this is something I've seen a lot of students face. Because they don't keep track of their attendance, they don't attend classes, and at the end, they are unable to sit for exams, which then hinders your progress, your ability to be awarded awards, etc. The next one is transfer policy. So the transfer policy at the BCIS mentions that if you are unable to complete your course of study, you are able to transfer to the next immediate batch. So now you all are 2026A batch. So you are able to transfer to the next batch, which is the 2026B batch, which is the next immediate batch. So if for some reason, say you are unable to complete your course, or you think you're going to have some hardships in terms of academic commitments, etc., then the next best thing is to inform us saying that you would like to transfer to the next batch so that you can complete your course of study, right? And also remember, you can only transfer once, so just be mindful of this policy when going forward. Your studentship is valid for 3 years. So you make sure that you try to complete your course within this time, because there have obviously been students who have lost track of their studentship and they are unable to complete their courses of study. So I want to point this out to you. Another thing is about assessments. We see some students who don't complete assessments. So please try to complete your assessments as much as possible within your original batch, with your original batch, so that you don't, again, miss out on the content that is being taught and, the different activities, because some lecturers tend to do in-class activities through their teaching. So if you miss these assessments, then I think you will face a situation where maybe with the next batch, it will be something different altogether. So we don't have makeup assignments. So if you miss an assessment, then you will have to cover it up with the next immediate batch, because we don't do repeat assessments. Okay. So as you are aware, we'll be having hybrid lectures, and I think with the current situation, most of the sessions will be online at the outset, but things might change. So please, when you're online, please interact with your facilitators, your colleagues. When questions, lecturers ask questions, please respond and be active in your class, right? Actively participate and follow your courses, because it's a two-way street. Lecturers are not, delivering a speech. They would want interaction with you as you would in a classroom. So please ensure that you engage with them, your class. If you don't understand something, you speak up and inquire about those doubts. Yeah. And of course, I think given the current situation, I also want to draw your attention to our social media and the website. So if by any chance we want to update you with something, we would definitely put it on our social media and our website. But we'll also, we have our WhatsApp groups, we'll have our emails, we will do all of that. But just follow our websites and socials about events and what is happening around us, so that you don't miss out on the activities and the information that we are trying to pass on to you. We've also seen some students, somewhere, in your courses, you drop out, you don't continue to follow the course. You go overseas. So please keep us informed when you're doing this. Don't go early, go MIA, be in the dark. Please inform our wonderful coordinators, the team who's been in touch with you. And always use your student ID when you're communicating, so that we know who you are. We can keep track of the communications. So even if it's about, medical, you're sick, you can't attend something, you have to go overseas, just keep us informed so that we can have these conversations with you and help you if you're going through a difficult situation. And lastly, I want to draw your attention to and talk a little bit about our library, a fantastic space. I think as students, it's important that you go to these spaces, the library, and refer to this book, because some of the modules will be using some of the material in the library. So I think it's very important that you use the library, it's accessible to you. It's just at the BCIS. You don't need to go somewhere else. You can also look up books online. The OPEC system, you can go search for books, based on the different modules that you're learning. If sometimes we don't have a book, we're happy to loan it from another library. So speak to our librarians about it. We have the interlibrary loan facility, which you can make use of. I'm sorry, there's a typo on my slide. It should be past papers, right? Not past papers, past papers. So you can also, when exams come up, you can go to the library. There are past papers from previous exams that you can look at to, prepare for your exams. So all of this is available with the library. They will also scan chapters for you from books. So engage with the staff, because they are extremely helpful and ready to help you go through your courses, help you in finding material. So please do get in touch with them. They also have fantastic e-resources that you can access. So just go look. They have a variety of databases that you can get material from. So that's it from me, from the education team. And I once again welcome you to the BCIS and look forward to having you walk our corridors very soon and interacting with you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bhagya. We will now move on to hearing from our first guest of honor, Admiral Professor Jayannath Kolumage, a distinguished alumnus of BCIS and former commander of the Sri Lankan Navy, where he served for over 3 decades before retiring in 2014. Following his naval career, he went on to serve in several key national and diplomatic roles, including Permanent Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Additional Secretary to the President for International Relations. Later, he was also the Sri Lanka's ambassador to Indonesia and ASEAN. Admiral Kolumage holds PhD from the General Sir John Kothawala Defence University and has lectured extensively at universities and defence institutions, both in Sri Lanka and internationally. It is indeed a great honour to have him with us today. May I now invite Professor Jayannath Kolumage to address the gathering.
Good evening to you, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, the Executive Director of BCIS and the faculty and the newly joined students. First, let me congratulate all of you who have enrolled into the certificate, diploma, high diploma, and postgraduate diploma programs at the BCIS. I believe you have made a right choice to understand what is the international system currently, how does the world function, what is the role of international and multilateral organizations, what can we expect from the world, and then what can we do to this world so that we have a better world tomorrow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, about 20 years ago, I too was a student at the BCIS, like you, learning international relations and also conflict resolutions and skills development. And I was a typical naval officer, and I served the Navy for 36 long years. In 2006, I enrolled at the BCIS, and little I realized at that time, the skills, the knowledge that I would gain from BCIS would be very handy to me one day. So after 36 years of naval service, I retired as a 4-star admiral and immediately became a lecturer in the Colombo University, BCIS, BIDTI, and then I became a specialist, speaker, panelist, moderator, commentator in many local and international conferences in many countries across the world. Now the question is, how did a typical naval officer who have served 36 long years in the Navy became an somewhat expert in international relations and conflict resolution? Well, the ladies and gentlemen, the answer is the BCIS, right? And then, of course, subsequently, I even became a guest professor at one of the top universities in China called the Sichuan University, which is having 60,000 student population with 15,000 faculty. Now in 2019, of course, I retired in 2014. Then 2019, I came back to work for the government, and I was the additional secretary for international relations for the president. Now, very soon, I became the permanent secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Now, there I had to defend Sri Lanka in the United Nations Human Rights Commission, defend GSP Plus in Brussels, negotiate with Russia for trade, negotiate with Iran for T2 oil barter system. Now I left Foreign Ministry, and then I was appointed as ambassador to Indonesia and ASEAN. Now in Jakarta, I had to deal with other embassies and ASEAN headquarters and many Indonesian institutions. One thing I realized there was that we have a low-hanging fruit, we call it the Buddhism, because Indonesia long time ago was a Buddhist country, and Indonesians have a very high regard for Theravada Buddhism, but they did not know much about the value of Theravada Buddhism in Sri Lanka. So I interacted with many different Buddhist organizations, many different Buddhist universities, and I spoke about the value of Sri Lanka as the cradle of Theravada Buddhism. And now, even today, these groups are visiting Sri Lanka, some in 60, some in 30 group. This is something that I achieved as a diplomat. Now, ladies and gentlemen, also the BCI courses helped me in another strange way. You know, I'm not ashamed to say that I don't have a bachelor's degree. Why? Because I joined the Navy as a very young person. I was just turning 19 and I did not have the time to go to the university. But by the time I left the Navy, I had a PhD, I had a Master of Science, Master of Arts, and 3 postgraduate diplomas. Now, the point I was trying to say how I benefited from the BCIS is I wanted to do a Master of Arts of International Studies from King's College London. Now, King's College London is one of the top 10 universities in the world. And they said, you don't have a bachelor's degree. You don't have a bachelor's degree, but do you have anything else? I said, I have done some postgraduate courses at a center called BCIS. Then can you produce your transcripts, which I did, and I was accepted to do a master's program. Purely I had done the courses in the BCIS. So this is why I congratulate you, ladies and gentlemen, for selecting to follow a course. I don't know exactly which course you are doing in the BCIS. Now, even Dr. Bhagya mentioned that here in the BCIS, one thing I experience is it is not about the theory, but it's a practical application of that theory. Because right now, we are living in a very difficult, very unpredictable, and ungoverned world, right? Power is the might, or the might is the power now, right? If you have weapons, if you have money, you can do anything like, well, it is not the case. But we do see a very different world in the 21st century, in the 2026, than what we saw like 5-10 years ago. Now, ladies and gentlemen, still I would say there is interdependence among the states, and there are non-state actors in this world, and also complex global problems. So I'm not going to go into the theories now, but we have a lot of theories in the international relations, right? That is, one is the realist perspective that the states are anarchic, the system is anarchic, the state will always try to maximize their power. That is one theory. Then we have also the liberal perspective. The states are more responsible. They believe in the international system. They work in harmony with other countries to resolve issues. So we are sandwiched between these two theories mainly. Now, at the BCIS, you will have enough experiences, enough examples, and then you can decide what is the most applicable theory on international relations to how to describe what is happening in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are living, despite what America is doing, we are still living in a very much globalized world, right? One event taking place in one location impact everyone, impact the majority. We know the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Now we feel the punch here, although we are not a party to that conflict in the Persian Gulf. So therefore, whether it is international trade, whether it is rapid technological and communication development, whether it is cross-border transnational crime, the international relation is very important. And we have, on top of the issues that we have, climate change, international terrorism, cyber security threat, pandemics. In 2020, we experienced for the first time a pandemic, COVID-19. Then we have large-scale refugee and migrant crisis and economic instability. Now, such challenges cannot be solved by any single country, and it requires collective international responses. This is what you, ladies and gentlemen, are going to learn during the next 1 year or so. So in conclusion, I can say international relations remain highly relevant in the contemporary world because global politics is increasingly interconnected and complex. You need to understand, you need to have some background understanding. I gave you a list of things I did. Where did I develop these skills? My skill set in international relations and in conflict resolution and skill management I received from the BCIS, right? So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we need to understand how the world functions. We need to understand the issues that the world is facing today. We need to understand what is the best we can do to make the world a better place. So I wish you all the very best, and I'm sure you all will enjoy. And of course, I will be available to you if you really need to consult me. I'm doing it already. And I wish you all the best. You have made a great choice by joining a training course at the Bandaranaike Center for International Studies. Wish you good luck. Happy sailing. All the best.
Thank you very much, Professor Kolomage. We will now hear from our next guest of honor, Ms. Kaumadi Bamnusinghe, who is a senior lecturer at the Department of Linguistics, University of Kelaniya, and a proud alumna of BCIS. She holds a BA, MA, and MPhil in linguistics from the University of Kelaniya. Her research interests include literary translation, sociolinguistics, and the cultural dynamics of language. She is currently pursuing her PhD in English and Cultural Studies at Christ University in Bengaluru, India. Ms. Bamnusinghe has also presented her research at numerous local and international conferences and academic publications. It's a great pleasure to welcome her today. May I now invite Ms. Bamnusinghe to address the gathering.
Thank you very much. I hope I am audible. Am I? Yes. Thank you very much. So, Admiral Professor Jayanath Kolambage, Ms. Priyanthi Fernando, Dr. Bhagya Senaratne, and Ms. Mahesha Soisa, all the distinguished members of the faculty, parents, and maybe most importantly, the newest cohort of students of the Bandaranaike Center for International Studies. A very good afternoon and a very warm welcome to all of you. As the previous Miss presented or introduced, I'm Kaumadi Bamnusinghe. I'm a senior lecturer in the Department of Linguistics, University of Kelaniya, where I specialize in translation studies and linguistics. But before all of that, I was exactly where you are, there today. So in 2009, when I like fresh out of my advanced levels, I enrolled in the Diploma in International Relations at BCIS. So back then, I was very young, not now, not anymore. So I enrolled to the diploma. So at that time, I had no idea that this institution or BCIS would quietly yet profoundly shape the rest of my life. So when I joined BCIS, yes, I was a young girl, not anymore, who was curious about the world, but had never been given a framework to understand it, definitely right after the A-levels. But I wanted to find out how things, function, especially how the world functions, but not a framework. I didn't know how to understand it. So international relations gave me that framework. It taught me to look beyond borders, definitely. So when we talk about borders, like when the very word border comes to our mind, we feel like geographical borders. Not only geographical borders, but especially the borders of thinking, especially critical thinking. So BCIS, or the course that I studied, taught me to ask, why does this happen? Who benefits? Maybe who suffers? And how are people, nations, and ideas connected in ways we rarely see on the surface? So, and here is something I did not expect. Those lessons did not leave me when I walked out BCIS for the last time as a student. They followed me into my academic career, into linguistics, into translation studies, and into every lecture I deliver today. Now, you might wonder, what does international relations have to do with linguistics? The answer is everything. It's language. So language, as we all know, is the most powerful weapon, I could say, in the world. So even for international relations, language is the most powerful instrument. So wars have been started over a mistranslated word. Peace negotiations have collapsed because of a phrase that carried one meaning in one cultural context and an entirely different meaning in another context. So diplomatic crises, have unfolded not because of bad intentions, but maybe or sometimes because of bad translations. The training I received at BCIS to think critically, to understand cultural context, to appreciate the complexity of human communication across political systems became the foundation of my academic specialization. So BCIS didn't just teach me facts about the world. Yes, they do teach you facts about the world. They have a very good syllabus or a curriculum, but it taught me how to think about the world as well. Now, some of you may be wondering, I am enrolled in a certificate, a diploma, or a high diploma, or a postgraduate diploma in international relations. So what does IR really mean for me personally? What does it have to do with my life? So let me tell you. So in my lectures, like I'm giving you my personal experiences as our professor mentioned earlier. So in my lectures at the University of California or in the other institutions that I work for, I definitely use, even though I'm not using entirely international relations related examples, but I am using very current, what's happening, like very real world events as teaching examples for every single lecture. Not definitely from textbooks from 30, 40 years ago, but from news, from current affairs, from global conversations happening right now. When the European Union debates the rights of speakers, that is international relations. That is how my subject area is connected to your subject area, or I can say to international relations. When a United Nations interpreter makes an error during a Security Council session, that is international relations. So IR is not an abstract discipline reserved for diplomats in Geneva or only for politicians. Whenever people hear the word IR or international relations, they feel like, no, not for us, like we are not going to be diplomats, things like that. No, it's not that. It is alive in every conversation you have across a cultural boundary. So it is alive in every business deal that crosses a border. Suppose you are, getting down a vehicle from Japan to Sri Lanka, from your Sri Lankan dealer, and you are getting down a car from Japan, a business deal that crosses a border. So it is alive in every news item you scroll past your phone, maybe this evening. So what you learn at BCIS will give you a lens. It gave me also a lens to look at the world, to see things in a way that I didn't see, before, that I couldn't see before. It gave me a lens, a way of seeing the world that most people around you simply will not have. And that lens is one of the most valuable professional and personal assets you can carry through life. Having that critical lens is a very important asset that you can carry through your life. So to every student joining us online today, whether you are beginning a certificate, a diploma, a high diploma, a postgraduate diploma, or program, I want to say this: do not take these months or years lightly. The education that you are about to receive is rare. Not everyone has the curiosity or the opportunity to study how the world truly works, but you do. So, don't take these years or months lightly. Engage deeply, read beyond the syllabus. Yes, when it comes to IR, international relations, definitely, yes. I also, like when I was doing my IR diploma there, yes, we had a very good syllabus, a very good curriculum. But more than the curriculum, you definitely have to go beyond the syllabus, especially in international relations. So connect what you learn here to what is happening globally, because the world definitely will not wait for you to catch up. So also, I would like to tell you, ask sometimes uncomfortable questions in class. If you want, you feel like, no, why should it be like this? Ask uncomfortable questions. Be comfortable being the person in the room who thinks differently, because that is exactly what this field trains you to do. And know this, the path from BCIS to your future career may not be straight. Mine was not, like, definitely not straight. I did my diploma, and then I went to Kalani. I did my bachelor's in, like, translation studies, linguistics and English. So definitely not straight. A diploma in international relations led me not to the foreign ministry, but to a university lecture hall. Yes. And it was the perfect preparation for exactly that. Your BCIS education will equip you in ways you cannot yet imagine. Just trust the process, trust what's happening. So I'm here today as someone whose life was changed, or I can say nurtured, by the decision to walk through the doors of BCIS, and it gave me the courage, definitely the intellectual courage, to explore new fields, to ask bigger and uncomfortable questions, maybe, and to see my own discipline, language or linguistics, as a profoundly political and international phenomenon. So I hope that some years from now, some of you will be standing at a podium somewhere, perhaps here, or perhaps somewhere grander, and you will trace that moment back to the evening of 18th March 2026, when you started your BCIS journey. Congratulations and welcome to BCIS. Thank you very much. That's all from my end. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bhavana Singh. As we've come to the conclusion of today's inauguration ceremony, I would now like to invite Ms. Mahesha Soisa, Senior Education Learning Officer at BCIS, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Tarshi. Good evening, everyone. And it's my pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks at today's virtual inauguration ceremony of the International Relations programs for the academic year 2026A. First of all, I'd like to sincerely thank everyone who contributed in different ways to making this event a success. A special thank you to Admiral Professor Jayanath Kolumage, former Navy Commander, for joining us today and sharing his valuable experiences and insights as a BCIS alumnus and a BCIS faculty member. Your words were truly inspiring, especially for our new students. I'd also like to thank Ms. Kaumadi Bhamnasinghe, Senior Lecturer, Department of Linguistics, University of California, for taking the time to share her thoughts and perspectives on the academic programs at the BCIS. We truly appreciate your contribution. My heartfelt thanks goes out to Ms. Priyanthi Fernando, Executive Director of the BCIS, and Dr. Bhagya Senaratne, Director of Education at the BCIS, for their continuous guidance, encouragement, and support in making events like this possible. I would also like to extend my gratitude to Mr. Lalit Veeradana, who is the BCIS Registrar and Chief Administrative Officer, for his admin support. We are also grateful to our chairperson, Madam Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumartunga, as well as the members of the Council of Management and the Board of Academic Affairs for their continued guidance and support. A big thank you goes out to all the staff members of the BCIS, especially the technical and communications teams, for their teamwork and dedication in organizing this virtual event. And finally, to our new students, thank you for joining us today. We are delighted to have you with us, and we hope your time at BCIS will be both enjoyable and rewarding. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Ms. Soisa. With that, we've come to the end of today's virtual inauguration ceremony. On behalf of the BCIS, once again, I would like to thank our distinguished guests, faculty members, and new students joining us today. To our new students, we wish you very rewarding and enriching academic journey at BCIS. We hope to see you in lectures sometime next week. Thank you very much for joining us and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.